Is Kunitsu-Gami, Path of the Goddess, worth our time? We're about to find out. Welcome, everyone, to episode 186 of 1 Hour, 1 Decision, 1H1D. I am Chris.
And I am Tom.
And we take 60 minutes and play a random game on Xbox Game Pass and decide, well, Tom, did I say that right?
I think you did.
Okay.
It feels right to me.
So we can get past that question at this point and talk about the game, which, as I said at the top of the episode, Kunitsu-Gami, Path of the Goddess, developed by Capcom Co. Limited. This game came out in July of 2024. So
yes,
at the time of this recording, very, very recent. And I played this on the PC, per usual, 16.03 gigabytes on the PC. Tom, what about you?
Quite a bit larger on the Series S, clocking in at 19.05 gigabytes.
Wow. Capcom wanted to shove some more into
Stuff
the
in there.
S. The S is for not savings. It's for
stuff. More stuff.
Stuff. Superfluous. But what kind of game is this?
I have third-person action strategy.
I just added a few more words to that. I put third-person real-time strategy action game.
Yes. Well, you can pause and give orders and then unpause.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, you're right. Because you do the strat. Well, we'll get into it. We'll talk about it. But what is this game's loop?
Okay. Well, it's kind of here for anybody guessing. I have prepare for nightly incursions and protect your priestess to cleanse each area.
Ooh, that's more eloquent than what I said, which is get to the end of the path and open the gate.
Open the gate.
Open the gate. Let us in. Let me in. Anyway, you know that meme.
Or maybe close the gate. I guess it depends how you want to look at it.
That's true. Yeah. Let's see how we look at this game and how we like it, though, Tom. What do we like?
I think the tutorial was nice and quick and was a great intro. I felt powerful from the very beginning of the game, and I like that feeling.
Okay, good to know. This is a pretty game, I'd say, overall.
Yes.
And I was just kind of thrown off on how like the game presents itself very quickly or initially as kind of like a 2D side scroller.
Yes.
Right. It was you're like, okay, is this because I heard rumblings of this game because I've heard some people like really enjoy it or like were really into it. And I was like, okay.
Ditto.
And I was like, oh, well, then is it just is this a platformer of some sort and then it's like, and then like literally 2 seconds later, it's like, no, move the camera around. It's like, oh, okay. But it was still like an action game. And then it like the game slowly unfolds all these mechanics, which I thought was good. Like it was good that like, I mean, like how you mentioned, the tutorial did kind of get you ramped up in a nice clip, I would say. It was a good pacing.
I never felt overwhelmed. Sometimes with action games, if there are a whole lot of controls, they just kind of throw them all at you. But like the action part of this action game isn't all that overly complex.
Right.
I think a lot of the complexity comes in maybe in the strategy part of it. But like you said, they do a good job of kind of pacing that out and like not giving you too many units up front and okay, you can only upgrade this unit to this kind of class for now. And it's like, oh, now here's class number 2. I think it's well done. In that respect. Yeah.
And I was like, I was trying to think of, I mean, this essentially is kind of like a tower defense game. You know, you set up your forces and, there's a your setup round and there's a attack round. And, we did recently play Orcs Must Die 3. And it definitely brought me back to that. But I liked the fact that what you brought up earlier, that you can pause and kind of take a lay of the land. Whereas I don't think Orcs Must Die, you couldn't pause while you're in the attack phase. So it was nice to be able to like position people properly. And for the most part, they will do what you tell them to do. It's not like you're babysitting them a lot. So it was good.
Yeah. Gave me kind of Dragon Age vibes in that respect, where you can kind of pause, redistribute, and then the characters kind of do what you told. You gave them basic like attack defend orders, but you're not like controlling them, nor do you have to micromanage them.
And in that sense, like I appreciated that, it wasn't Because if it was just a hack and slash game, it would have gave me like Dynasty Warrior vibes where you're just constantly just mashing things. Mm-hmm. But because you have your units and stuff like that, I was like, wow, this is it was a pretty satisfying game loop, I will say.
Yeah. I definitely agree with you on that. I think I want to touch on the style of this game. You said it looks good. I agree. I think like the flash and the style of the attacks, the idea that it's all based on dance.
Yeah.
It just looks really pretty, but also plays pretty. I don't know if that really makes sense.
Yeah. It's got style.
It's got pizzazz. It does have style, and that style kind of reminds me of Demon Slayer. If anybody watches Demon Slayer. Okay. But like a lot of those attacks like carry elemental like energy behind them.
Sure.
And you see it like trail behind their swords and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And here it's got that same kind of like trailing magical energy off of it. The stances and like that you have to do dances to cleanse the gates and everything. Right. I don't know. I really dig it.
Yeah. And there is base building, which is generally something I do not like, but I do appreciate that the base building was fairly simple. It was just build this, wait it out a certain time frame or whatnot, and that was it.
And it's you're already kind of taught to give your villagers instructions,
right?
And it really is just more giving villagers instructions, but this is down during like the downtime. So it's like you've cleansed the city, but the city's messed up.
Yeah.
And now you click on some villagers or you click on a task and say, fix this. And then you just kind of forget about it until they're finished. You leave the map, you come back sometime later and it'll say, oh, this is finished and this is finished. Yeah. And you go check on their work, give them the thumbs up, and then you get the reward. So
Right. Yeah. And this game does have a lot of different rewards. So we kind of touched on this where you can upgrade your characters, like your units. Mm-hmm. You can also upgrade yourself with like little charms, I guess, that's on your there's like a whole presentation there in itself, because like you go to your little like general's camp or what tent. Right. And in there's like there's like your charms that you kind of can unlock as you complete boss battles, which is another thing. So on top of the going through the paths and opening the gates, there's actual boss battles that you have to go through with your units. I don't know if the number of units increases, but so far I've only seen up to 4. I'm curious.
I know that it does increase at least in terms of the towns.
Okay.
I don't remember if you have, because I remember a point having 5, but I don't remember if it was 5 villagers in the town or villagers assisting me. And I kind of want to say it was villagers in the town and not actively assisting me.
Yeah, because I think at one point in the game, you get like a guy who becomes like your builder, because you can also not only do you create units, but you build like traps or defensive measures. Yes. And this person does that. And not only that, actually, they'll like unblock certain things that are in that path as well. So it's just like there is that stuff going on, and you're on this kind of day-night cycle. So during the day is when you do all your preparation, and then the night is when you have to battle these, basically like cannon fodder units. But based on how you set up your units, that can be pretty easy or pretty challenging. So there's that. And it was definitely interesting in that first hour. Anything else you wanted to talk about on your likes here?
I liked that I unlocked all this like cool Okami stuff right when I opened up the game. Yeah, because I enjoyed Okami, and it makes sense. It's Capcom. It's also Okami oozes style also. Right. So, and it definitely feels like you just kind of scratched the surface in this hour. Like it's clear that this game has a lot more depth, has a lot more strategy to it, probably all kinds of other modes and different boss battles and that sort of stuff. And it's, we'll see all that as the game progresses. So,
all right, cool. So now
ready to tell me some things you don't like, Chris?
Yeah. Well, there are a million pop-ups at the beginning of this game. I feel like this is a Capcom thing.
Yeah. Maybe it's just all Capcom games.
Yeah. They just like to just throw a bajillion pop-ups just to let you know everything that you've unlocked, even though you've just started playing the game.
Yeah. They really should just a real simple if loop where it's like, if this is this the first time you're playing the game?
Yeah.
If yes, then only hit me with the things that I really need to know.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And then bug me with all this stuff the next time I boot it up, if I ever boot it up again.
Or just have like a separate menu of like notifications or something like that. You see, like, has a little star or something like that just to kind of catch your attention. And if you want to read it there, but don't throw that at me right. I'm starting to play this game. Like, come on.
How about a pop-up that says, would you like to read the rest of these pop-ups?
Or that, that works too. We could do that. I mean, I don't know, anything, but yeah, that was the first thing that just kind of irked me about the game. What about you, Tom?
Okay, so I was winning against that first like boss, but the plot of the game requires that you lose against it. And so I just lost. Like it just abruptly was like, you lose. And I was like, wait, but like I was at full health and I was definitely kicking his butt. Like, why did I just lose? Because plot.
You know what the thing was, that first battle, I was very confused, like what my health bar was.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the UI was a little confusing. I think it made sense later on, but yeah, like I was very confused at that whole point. But yeah, plot armor for the bad guy there. So unfortunately, it's that is what it is. But yeah, but the other thing that was really weird for me was outside of like the very first cutscene, there's really no audio. Like, there was just music, but like the voice acting was just like grunts and stuff like that. But yeah, it was weird. And I think the second cutscene before you actually start the game, they just kind of walk like after that like fake boss battle, like it was just text and like no one was talking. I was like, what's going on? It was really weird. It was just kind of unsettling in a way. So yeah, I don't know. It was that kind of threw me off because it's a Capcom game. You feel like there'd be a little bit more polish in that sense, I would think.
Yeah.
So,
it definitely feels like it was a choice though. Yeah.
You have
a silent protagonist, you have a silent priestess.
Yeah.
You have I don't want to say maybe a reliance on the music to kind of tell the story. I mean, maybe because so much of it is like dance.
Yeah.
So you have the dance and the music working together to tell the story, and not they don't want to just hit you with tons of dialogue. It would maybe detract from that. I didn't put down the fact that nobody's talking as a detractor when normally I would agree with you. So for me, for whatever reason, here it worked. I'll tell you some things that didn't work though. I don't really like the way the camera handles. I kind of wish the game just took care of that for me.
Okay.
Especially because it did start out as kind of like a 2D side scroller and then became like, okay, now you're in charge of the camera. For whatever reason, a lot of times it just didn't do what I wanted it to do or felt kind of off or weird. Hard to put a finger on exactly what it was that bothered me about it.
Right.
I think talking about some of like the ambiguity of the controls and things, even though the tutorial I do think is very good in terms of laying out the strategy, laying out the button presses for attacks and stuff like that.
Right.
Things like the village maintenance, right?
Right.
I assign the guy to do repairs. I then fast forward time because the game teaches you how to fast forward time, and I'm fast forwarding time. I reach night, nothing happens. I keep fast forwarding time through the next day. Still nothing happens.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, how long is this going to take?
Yeah.
And there's no real indication of that. And so what I discovered was you have to kind of go like finish the next town and then come back. Mm-hmm. It's like based on the mission time.
Yeah, there is a section when you go to do the repairs that tells you how many stages or like the time.
Is that what that is?
Yeah,
because it doesn't have words. It just has pictures.
It's just pictures, and then like it'll tell you like 1, 2, however many stages it takes for that to complete. I was confused about that too. I thought the mini map was also a little confusing. Because everyone is just kind of these rectangles, like different colored rectangles.
Yeah.
So you didn't know what
banners.
was your unit. Right. Yeah. Oh, well, there you go. That makes more sense. So it was like, it was it was just like, okay, who am I? Yes, okay, your character is kind of like this little flame, and but it was like I don't know what they were trying to go with. This must be them leaning into their whole style thing, sticking to this particular time period and such. So okay, so be it. But I was just, it kind of was a little hard to read initially. I'll say.
Yeah, I think you do get used to it over the hour. I'll be honest that because of some of these other things that I didn't quite grasp.
Yeah.
I felt like the progress of the game ended up being very slow, and I only really beat one level in the hour.
Really?
I mean, like I did the tutorial piece.
Yeah.
But then like full stage, like I think I did one. Maybe I was on the second one when the hour came up.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But it's because I was looking at the base building and looking at the upgrades and looking at this and looking at that. And then, it didn't like kind of push you through it.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was no urgency from the game to do the next thing.
True.
And then left to my own devices.
Yeah. I'll be honest, like looking at that map too, it was pretty intimidating because if it's like we're at the top, do we have to go to the bottom? But like the way they had you kind of set up, it was like you were right next to where you were kind of kicked out. Yeah. So it was like, all right, so I have to work my way down and then come back up or something. Like it was like it was very confusing about that. But whatever, if that's how they wanted to set it up, I would think like you would work your way back up to that area as opposed to coming like down.
Yeah.
So be it. Yeah. But yeah, and I guess the plot is you have to get the masks back. There are like several masks that you have to collect that will help you defeat whatever this oddly, like very creepy looking, like non-moisturized fingers, like at the top of this, at the top of your temple, like opening up gates to these demons that are corrupting the whole area. Yeah. It was very, very interesting. My playthrough though, I felt like it was kind of easy. The cannon fodder for the most part was just, they just kind of walked up to you and you just do your thing, or your units just kill them in a fairly quick fashion. And like the bosses were definitely a little bit more challenging.
Sure.
I did die once during a boss. And what happens is you become like a little spirit orb, so you can still control your units. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I guess the idea is like, if you like you dying doesn't matter. It's if the goddess or the priestess dies. So, obviously you have to just protect her at all costs. Yeah. And then the other thing I thought was kind of frustrating was it was like a forced replayability of each mission because there are challenges, but you don't see the challenges until after you complete the mission.
I was not a fan of that either. If there's going to be side objectives, tell me what they are before I start or something.
Exactly. But like you can potentially unlock them during your first playthrough, but you don't know what they are.
Right.
So it's like,
tell me what the goals are, right?
Yeah. Yeah, tell me what the goals are. It's not that hard. If you're going to say, and like even the boss missions, if you beat them, it's like, okay, we'll beat them in under 1 minute. All right, I get that you can't pretend like at the start of the game, you're not leveled up and stuff like that. So
you're probably not going to do it.
Yeah, yeah. But the regular missions, I would think you could at least try to achieve that. But they're like, okay, no, we're going to force this second replay for you to get all that stuff. Because then that unlocks you Mitsubi, I believe. It's like that currency that you use to upgrade your units. So yeah, that was that. But yeah, anything else you wanted to bring up here on dislikes? Tom?
No, not really.
Cool. So we'll get to our other thoughts here. How Long to Beat says, this game just came out recently, so at the time of this recording, 16 hours to complete. So
right, whether in like 9 masks or something. Seems plausible.
Yeah. So it is xCloud and Xbox Play Anywhere. So that's always good. Have play this game on the go. Seems like a game that you could play on the go. Like seems nice enough too. And what else you got there, Tom?
Apparently the development of this game took more than 4 years, which is interesting because I had not heard of it at all until it landed. It was built on Capcom's RE engine, which
as most everything.
It's interesting insofar as like you have like fighting games are built in it. Resident Evil's built in it. This game is built in it.
Monster Hunter?
You look at this and you go like, really? Yeah. Like this is all the same engine? Good on Capcom.
Yeah, impressive.
So who is the main protagonist there. The dance battle style is based on something called kagura, which is an ancient ceremonial dance.
Okay.
And the enemies are based on yokai, which are supernatural creatures. There is a special bunraku, which is a Japanese puppet theater show. They made a prequel that's available to watch on YouTube. So and I watched it, and it is something.
Really?
I mean, it's like 15 minutes long, and it's like this, like, it's a puppet theater performance that like outlines the, like, how do we get to the beginning of the game, which I think is pretty cool. I mean, it's so random. But it totally works.
Okay, good to know. I'll probably have to check that out. So send me that link and I'll see it.
Sure.
But now, Tom, we need to find out our final decisions on this game. Are we keeping this on our respective hard drives or throwing it into one of those gates and closing it forever?
Well, as you may have guessed, my hour went by very quickly. I only finished that one level because I was so distracted by all the things the game had to offer. But as a consequence, I feel really invested in the game, even after just an hour. It's definitely one where I was like, I need to save. I think the gameplay was fun and it felt pretty rewarding. So I definitely want to play more. It's a weird game from Capcom, and I'm here for it.
Yeah. I do appreciate the fact that I have no idea, or had no idea, what this game was. I did see like a game preview of this in one of the Xbox showcases. And I was like, what is going on here? Like, what is this game? I thought it was, and then when I started playing, like we talked about before, I thought it was like a 2D side-scrolling game, or 2D, 2.5D side-scrolling action game. But it wasn't. It added this kind of strategy element that I was like pleasantly surprised about. And yeah, kudos to Capcom for bringing this game out and letting us play it, because I had a lot of fun, and definitely going to keep it. And yeah, so that's that. Those are our thoughts.
2 for 2.
Yeah, 2 for 2. And those are our thoughts. So let us know what you think of this game. Follow us and say hello on Twitter or Threads at TC1H1D. Shoot us an email at TC1H1D@outlook.com. Check out our next streams. Find out what we're playing next there on twitch.tv/1H1D. And hey, if you're watching this on YouTube, send us a comment down below. What was your favorite part about this game? Is there any cool things that we should be prepared for on our continuation of this game? So yeah, 1H1D is part of the QTB network. And if you like any great gaming content, check it all out at quitthebuild.com/network. I'm Tom.
Yes, Chris.
We do need to find out what we're playing next, don't we?
Yes. Well, there's only one of these, so it can't be the sequel to that.
Yes, we did play the first of something, so it's good.
Could be a sequel of something else, though. I guess we're about to find out.
We are about to find out. So here we go.
Does it have a number in the title?
No.
It's already a win.
It's already a win for us. It is a plural, though. Trail makers.
Let's make some trails, Chris.
Let's make some trails and figure out what this game's all about on the next episode. But until then, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning into this one, and we'll catch you on that one.
Thanks, everybody.